how this whole big bad thing got started, but it's all wrong. All wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Well, it's not my fault that wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and rabbits and pigs. That's just the way they are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks might think you were big and bad too. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. And I had a terrible sneezing cold. I ran out of sugar, so I went down the street to ask my neighbor to borrow a cup of sugar. Well, this neighbor wasn't too bright. He had built his house out of straw. Can you believe that? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell in. I didn't want to just walk into somebody's house, so I said, little pig, are you in? I didn't hear anybody answer. I was just about to go home without that cup of sugar when my nose started to itch. I felt a great big sneeze coming on, and well, I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed, a great big sneeze. And you know what? That whole house felt down. And right in the middle of the pile was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. Well, it seemed like a shame to leave a good ham laying there, so I ate it. You can think of it as a big cheeseburger. I was feeling a little better, but I still needed my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house out of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house, and nobody answered, and I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And he yelled back, go away, Wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but achoo! And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down too. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Now, you know that food will spoil if you leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing I could do. I had dinner again. You can think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling better. I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake, so I went to the next house. This guy must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house and there was no answer, and I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that rude little porker said to me? Get out of here, Wolf, don't bother me again. Talk about being impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar and wouldn't even give me 1 cup for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home when I felt my cold coming on. And I huffed and I puffed and I sneezed again. And the little pig yelled, and your granny can sit on a pin. I'm usually quite calm, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I kind of go crazy. And when the cops drove up, I was trying to break down this pig's door. And the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I'd had for dinner, and it didn't sound very exciting to say a sick wolf was going to borrow a cup of sugar, so they jazzed it up with all that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. I was framed. That's the whole story. I was framed. But maybe could you loan me a cup of sugar?